Hi, welcome to the Distro Boss Podcast. This is Savraj here, and I'm on with Nikolina Jovanovik from Indigo Sails. Nikolina, welcome.
Hi, Sav. Thank you. I'm very happy to be here today with you. I'm excited
Awesome.
about our chat.
Me too. I have a special interest as well because when I looked at Indigo Sales, I had to say, when I looked at it, I thought, wow, that's something that I actually wanted to build, something similar to that in the past. My wife and I, she's a psychotherapist, Ackerman trained, and I was like this, the entrepreneur, I was like, hey, why don't we make a retreat and stuff like that? And we could even, it doesn't always have to be a hotel. It could be a boutique hotel on an island somewhere. Maybe you could have yachts. And then I look at Indigo Sales and it's like, yeah, this is kind of it. And you've done this. You've got personal development in there, health and mental well-being. And then you've got like that wrapped into kind of like a corporate retreat almost. Could you tell us a little bit about Indigo Sales? Because I think it's really cool.
Yeah, thank you, Sav. Yes, well, I come from, of course, I used to build and run hotel properties, and I have spent most of my career in travel, moving forward, combining travel with technologies, etc. And I had a very fulfilling and good quality career, but at the same time, I started journaling a book, and I have been expressing all of my emotions on regular basis, like how would something make me feel, how am I spending my days, where is my life heading, like what do I want from life. And in the end, I was wondering, after everything I've been through, who am I? And moving on with my daily schedule and like being in such a fast-paced environment, it was like, am I doing the right thing here? Should I just try to pause and reflect and figure out like what's next? And I wasn't content. I cannot, like, I always wanted to give to society, and I wanted to be part of it, but it's not that I was miserable, but at the same time, like that inner sense of fulfillment and contentment that I feel on regular basis today was nowhere to be found. So I started journaling the book, and hopefully we will have it published this year as well. So
I know what that's like. I know what that's like. Like I wrote a book, and I thought I finished it, and I go back and I start editing it. My editor's looking like, Sab, when are you going to be finished with this book? When is it going to be done? Because you keep adding stuff. Like it's just a never-ending process. You've got to get.
I think you're going to have a sequel as well. Yeah,
absolutely. I've got too many notes.
There's just so much you want to say. Yeah. And I think that's wonderful because you experience so much and you learn from it and you want to share it. And there is nothing more beautiful than that. And when I, like same as you, back and forth, loads of editing. And I was like, why am I doing this? Like I'm driving myself mad. What do I genuinely want to do? And the conclusion was, I want to help people to try to be their authentic self. And I want to share my journey to try to encourage and support and show the other side. Because usually we put up front only the best, right? And we do wear masks on regular basis. Like you are not who you are at your own home with your family and your kids and your wife as you are when you step out in a street or in your work professional environment, and that even flips, right? If you are trying to contract with someone or you're like, and I kept on wondering why, we were born to, I believe that we were born to evolve and to reach that level of self-awareness where we can have our own eternal peace and contentment without compromising on our authenticity. So I came up with 6 key milestones, which were drafted like from my experiences regarding, I'm a war child, right? So we had a war in Croatia. I lost my father in that war. We were refugees. We had to renovate all of our houses. Moving forward, a lot of men were killed, and becoming tough at an early age and responsible, I would say, then to moving forward in trying to develop a sustainable career where I can provide and take care and then be independent. And all of those expectations and situations and responsibilities did kind of carve another persona, I would say, of me, who actually that wasn't me, like deep within, that's not who I am. And when I said that I want to help people, everyone were like, hey, you come from a corporate background, like sales, business development, investments. And I'm like, but I don't identify with it. It's not like maybe I can deliver it and I'm good at it, but at the same time, I don't feel as it is my life calling. And back then, that was a long time ago, everyone were like, what does it mean you want to help people? Like, how can you make a living out of helping people?
I think we all have that. When you become like an expert at something, that kind of becomes the facade, right? That's how you want people to identify you. And so you get so good, especially in the corporate world, you get so good at kind of pushing that message forward, that version of yourself forward, that I think a lot of people, it becomes like they almost think that it is their identity. And then, something happens in their life, something catastrophic, something cataclysmic, forces them to become like who they really are. And then suddenly they're looking at this new version of themselves when actually this is the actual original you. And this is the deep stuff that's coming out. And a lot of people, I think, and this is just from like the conversations I have with my wife, for instance, who's a psychotherapist, like you see people like have these cratering moments where everything kind of like a house of cards just kind of falls down, where all their insecurities come into play, all this past trauma comes up, and it does happen. And it takes a strong person to kind of like, challenge that and also like be accepting of it and kind of like let themselves as a person evolve with it too. And I think like having like, to your point about creating these steps and also having like this kind of retreat built around like Indigo Sails, it's a way for people to kind of take a step away, right? And maybe just find themselves in that place and also kind of see if they can merge the old self with the new. Like, here's your front persona and here's what you really desire in life. Now let's see if we can find this happy medium where you can now continue in a better state of mind and a better state of well-being.
Exactly. And you know what? Just a quick note. Don't you think it's weird that when you you are progressing through your career and on your CV, let's say if you're applying for sales, you're supposed to have only sales background. If you're applying for finances, you're supposed what happened to variety? Like, don't you want individuals? Like, aren't we supposed to be individuals who are full of different experiences and different set of skills should be appreciated? Like, instead of boxed up, like, come on, let's put you in here.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean,
and you're going to get really good at it.
Yeah, they have this like trajectory mapped out. It's like, but what if you want to change course? Like, what about the adventurer in you? Like the crusader who wants to dabble with some coding, who wants to dabble with, finance, who wants to dabble with some entrepreneurial activities, who wants to maybe go into health and wellness. Like, these are the things that kind of make you uniquely you.
And it seems like today's society and the environment is set up in a way that really doesn't allow you to look you don't have time to pull over and to look into yourself to really decide what ticks. Like, why do we have to be stuck in jobs or in environments that make us miserable? Like, why do we, because we are forced, right? We are stressed out. Like, we have mortgages, we have families, we have responsibilities, expectations, and you just keep on powering through. But there is only one life and one life only. And looking back on it, what do you want to do? How do you want to feel? Do you want to tap yourself on the shoulder and say, like, well done? You follow your dreams. It feels like we have been, as a kid, you believe that you can be whoever and do whatever, and you allow yourself to dream. And then as we become adults, it's kind of no, don't do that. Don't go there. Play it safe. Do this, do that. And you just lose yourself in a sea of everything,
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like there was a point in my life when I was feeling just constrained. I felt kind of suffocated. I hated doing the same exact routine every day, even though financially I was being rewarded significantly for it after a time. Actually, let's take it further back than that, when I wasn't even being financially rewarded. So there wasn't even a plus side. It was like crap pay and this crap lifestyle. And I was like, man, this is trash. And eventually I kind of pushed through and I started making more money. And so I could buy myself some fancy things. And that kind of subdues you, right? It placates you a little bit, makes you feel like, okay, well, it's all worth it. This is just kind of how things are. And then you start looking at social media and you start seeing everybody's like awesome life that they portray out there. And you're like, okay, exactly, I want to do something. And you start to feel this itch, and that itch becomes like this uncontrollable urge. And I feel like sometimes a lot of people, and I've seen this in like the corporate space and high net worth individuals, people who are high flying, they end up just having this moment where it's like, I can't, they have to make it, even if they don't make the pivot in their professional life, they start to create havoc in their home personal life because they want so
Exactly.
badly to have something different, and it just comes out, and it's life ruining stuff.
100%. And so I agree with all of it. And that was kind of I wanted to show to people that, like we see all the best, right? So you will rarely we see people recording themselves crying with their broken hearts, or, like
Well, they're
recording their
faking it right now.
fears
They're
of,
doing it for likes.
or failing at something
Misery,
like,
misery loves company, right? They do it for
yeah.
likes now.
Yeah, but we only see like, oh, this wonderful this and that. So I wanted to be honest, and I wanted to say, this is what I have been through, and I've been through a lot similar to you, like a sea of experiences for which I am grateful for, because it made me who I am today, like content within, without being conditioned with the external. And reaching that level of detachment and being able to find that content, for me it was a game changing in how I see my life. Like I feel free, and I feel that I can achieve whatever I want to achieve, and I feel that my life has a purpose, and I love it. Like I'm genuinely joyful and fulfilled with it. So
Do you think that that's because, like, when you mentioned you had like you said you had like you're a war child, right? So you've gone through, you've had to go through some intense, crazy kind of
traumatic,
hardship,
yeah,
traumatic,
experiences.
traumatic, and then you've kind of fallen into like the motion of this humdrum. Like, I need to start working, I need to build my career, so this is kind of the line I need to go down, right? But then, like, do you think that because of that foundation, because of that knowledge of how cheap life can be, how real life can get,
Yeah.
that it always kind of, you always knew that you had to do something more? Would you say that might be where it came from, or am I just off on Mars right
Hey,
now?
Sam, I was having the conversation with my husband yesterday, and I don't, for me, I cannot explain. For me, I believe that we need, like I wrote it yesterday, humanity is the world is our home. It's a fact, right? So why
Yeah.
don't we think of people around us and humanity and the world as our home? Like, what would you like inside of it? And I feel that we are required, it is our human responsibility to be more kind and genuine, and to follow our inner calling and our life purpose, and to act from the place of kindness and compassion. So for me, it's not conditioned. I feel it deep within me. Like it's natural to some extent. Like I had so many situations where I was living off rice and butter for like weeks. It's not days, it's weeks, powder milk for years and stuff like that. And I don't feel like deprived because of it, or I don't feel that it was a bad traumatic, as said, right? Like I guess that's the only word that we mainly use in order to define
Like
something that is
trauma,
extreme, right?
PTSD. Yeah. Like, but like, I feel like I've had this conversation, I feel like, with a few different people, where it's like, when you've had to go through it yourself, that became your normal, and it was acceptable because it didn't kill you. It was, you were going through it, and you were able to take the steps you could take to come through it. But it, by the way, wasn't something that was, catastrophically bad either. That was just life at the time. Now, when you look back,
Yeah.
through, rose tinted glasses, you're like, well, okay, that was pretty bad. And if
But
you
it
take that
happened to
life
me.
experience,
Yeah, but it happened to me also on like throughout in later age on several occasions as well, where I was like, I guess in my mid 20s, late 20s, where I blindly followed my dreams and my ideals, and like I had faith. And I feel that as long as I am standing behind my set of values, and I know that I am working towards something that is, let's say, in a common good, or it can make a difference and help and change the trajectory, I'm fine. Like there will be bad days, there will be good days. That doesn't define my purpose and the values and the journey, if that makes
it's
sense.
kind of like a
And I
higher
think,
calling, right? a higher calling. It's not
It's
just for
like a
like,
higher calling. Yes, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. But
yeah,
I
you know,
think,
I was actually reading this book back here,
really, which one?
Actional Gamification by UK
Uh-huh.
Chow. It's actually a really interesting book about like, I'm building a software, and it's like you can certainly build it. Matter of fact, hold on. This is a really interesting book. I actually bought it because I was looking to help myself build out a software platform of mine. And
Uh-huh.
one of the things he talks about are all of the different sort of core drives for humans. And it's like, one is like higher meaning and calling. It's right here on the front cover. You guys
Uh-huh.
should get it. You should definitely pick it up. Meaning, higher calling and meaning, empowerment, social influence, unpredictability, avoidance, scarcity, ownership, and accomplishment. Like, so he talks about these core drives as like being the things that we as humans need to have to continue moving forward. And so, I mean, he focuses specifically on like gamification, getting people to have that kind of how to get people to do stuff
Yeah.
more with certain games or software apps. But
Uh-huh.
he goes into the psychology of it. And as I was reading this book, I was like, wow, this is like more, this should be in the psychology section, not the software section.
I love it.
But I kind of get what you're saying in that and this is fresh in my mind, of course. So yeah, higher meaning, like you see, it sounds like what you're saying is like, you have this higher calling, this higher meaning that you're trying to go for. And it's like, that's what's exciting you. And you kind of, would you say that you're building the business, the movement around that, as opposed to building the business and then trying to find
Correct.
trying to find the meaning?
So I was saying, so yesterday I actually because in a definition, like Indigo Sails is a combination of personal development workshops, so self-improvement workshops, and sailing yachting. So it's a new way of holidaying because we don't have time to work on ourselves or to tap into ourselves. So when we are taking a break and when we are going for a vacation, it is essential that we use that time to truly rejuvenate ourselves, realign ourselves, and stop neglecting that voice within us. Like, we all have our inner self, real self. I call inner self the true self because I feel like it's more, if I say true, I feel responsible to be authentic for it. There's no way to hide it. Like, where, from the ages of philosophy into the psychology, like inner self has always been like interpreted as like inner self and real self. And inner self is also like having your inner calling, inner voice, intuition, etc. So I kind of call everything within me my true self. And because it's, for me, it's all connected and it's a bundle. So Indigo
And when you package that
allows,
as like a holiday, like a vacation,
yeah,
I feel like
retreat, sanctuary.
well, it's like a retreat, right? So, well, it is a retreat, but like
It
when your
is.
mind's in vacation mode, your mind's in holiday mode. When you think, I'm going to go sailing, I'm going to go on a yacht, it's going to be in beautiful ice blue waters and stuff. Like, when I think about my own experiences, and this is so, like I mentioned, my wife's a psychotherapist, right? So when
Yes,
we're
I
in,
cannot wait to meet her.
yeah, absolutely. And so when we're in like the typical day-to-day life of like getting work done, dealing with the kids and stuff, she might say something to me like, hey, you should go for like a mindful meditation thing. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm not interested in any of that. But then we go on vacation. And so I've got this complete perspective change. Now I'm like,
Correct.
I'm in relax mode. I've got the sun, I've got the sea, I've got time on my hands. I'm thinking, how many audiobooks can I blast through? Which one am I actually going to buy the book for? Hence the reason my shelves are empty. I listen to audiobooks. I don't buy all the books. But like,
Smart.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, otherwise you just end up with a whole ton of books that you didn't really want. But like, I'm now more open because I'm now not in. I haven't got the, if it's the shirt and tie equivalent of like my work gear. I'm now not in that mode of thought. I can now take a minute and say, okay, I'll be open to
Yeah.
mindful meditation. And of course, when I do it, I'm like, wow, this is amazing. This is actually changing who I am, as I feel like I'm recoding myself. This is like kind of like a memory dump, and I'm like rebooting the computer almost. And I've got all this energy, and I've got all this like these light bulb moments that are happening where I'm thinking of new things and great things to do with my life, and also having this sort of inner peace. And that none of that would have happened had you forced me into the situation in the city or in my workplace. It's having
Correct.
to have that complete venue change, that complete situational shift where I'm now not in that environment. I'm now completely somewhere new, but it's also a place where I'm
And
attuned
then,
to think it's a relaxing place, and then my mind opens up.
And that's one of the reasons why I have chosen yachts as a retreat accommodation, because I
So
think
people
like
stay
it's
on the
so
yachts.
magical and deliberating. Sorry.
So people stay on the yacht. It's not
Yes,
like
so
a
people stay.
hotel
We
with a
go as
yacht
the
service.
flotilla. Yes, it's about 5 people per boat because we encourage people to have their own cabin so they can meditate later on. They have some peace and quiet. Even though if they have a best friend, a partner, they're more than welcome to share a cabin with their partner, etc. And then they also receive a discount on a shared cabin. But it's
That's
in
awesome.
average about 5 people per boat. They have their own skipper, so they don't have to worry about knowledge of sailing. They can try it out and learn, like, of course, but everything has been secure for them. And we set our sails from the city of Split, which has now apparently have been pronounced the second most visited city in Europe. That's what like Rebecca told me last week.
And this is in Croatia, or is it sort
In
of
Croatia,
in
yes.
Croatia? Yeah.
So the retreat is being executed for now only in Croatia, but we are looking to open the routes as well in Spain and in Thailand, and that should happen over the next 2 years. But for now, it's the from Split to the island of Brač, then to the island of Hvar, then to the Fire Islands, and then we go back. So the sailing between the islands is about, like, let's say an hour per day, but it's beautiful. Like, sunrises are amazing, sunsets are amazing, you're doing your exercises and you have full focus on yourself. Like, connection and the network is really like poor when you sail and when you are away from the coastline. So it's like you have that peace and you can really focus, enjoy the sun, enjoy the beautiful Adriatic Sea. And at each stop, we partner with boutique resorts and hotels at which we host our workshops. And workshops are being tailored specifically in accordance with Indigo Sails 6 key milestones, which are raising self-awareness. So we need to look into, what drives us, what blocks us, what's the reasoning behind it, what are the experiences behind it. And then we examine ourselves, we examine the environment that we are in, and we try to get as much awareness possible about ourselves in a very genuine, like transformational way, right? I think what is great with my team is that I have put together a team of occupational therapists, professors, doctors, professors in authenticity. They teach at, like some of the most prestigious universities in the world. And
I saw some TED Talk speakers on there as well.
yeah, a lot.
On
Most
your
of them
roster on
are
your
TED
website, Indigo
speakers, yeah,
Sails.
as well. Rebecca Stevens, she's the first British woman who climbed Mount Everest and done 7 summits. She was, I think, junior senior editor of one of the Financial Times magazines, and she just felt that need to go and explore. She never climbed in her life. She always giggles when you ask her, like, but then that woman climbed Mount Everest, done all 7 summits, and even done the cross Atlantic sail, and she talks about resilience. So every day is crafted to guide you through the process of self-actualization. And the ultimate objective of it is to have you, after 1 week, more content, more at peace with yourself, more fulfilled, more having a sense of purpose, but also finding your tribe, the community, people who will be there for you on this journey from now on, because it changes. Like, and sometimes you will need one type of an input and support. Sometimes you will need another type of an input and support. And that's why we have, Roger Delps, most of them are also trained in psychometrics, but he's specifically for emotional intelligence and authenticity, values and the purpose. So you can get that academical insight. You can get that inspirational insight. You can also engage with the psychotherapist, occupational therapist, if you would like, or you choose you choose where you feel the fit and what resonates with you. Even though the program has 60 milestones, we do tailor towards each individual within the program throughout the retreat.
You
So
have these experts, these these specialists for each. Is it for each milestone has a different set of specialists? Is that how that
Correct.
works?
Yes. Each
Okay.
milestone has a different set of specialists, and we all unite as well. And we also do morning workshops in a group. Then we have one-on-ones, and then also we have storytelling and story sharing in the afternoon, mainly throughout the dinners. Dinner evening time. We have reflection time period, etc. My most favorite one is like when we are. It's like kind of a little bit like a ritual of us trying to step into our own new power, and we swap the boats. So you are going as your better self with a new crew now on another boat on a route back, and like the point is to test how it makes you feel. Like, are you gonna be confident with it? How does it make you feel? Like, because just within 48 hours, you're gonna step away from a boat, you're going to go back from Croatia to your home, into your old environment. Like, will you have what you need in order to pursue and to be driven and to be courageous and motivated to keep that positive mindset in your life mission to pursue your better self? And it's just
That's
wonderful.
really interesting. When you saying that, I don't know why it came to my head. Like, he had like the beginner, intermediate, advanced level. So that's like intermediate. You swap boats. Advanced level, like the skipper gets on a little jet and leaves. Like, you know, sail it back yourself. Like, who knows? That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it is very experimental. We have a lot of exercises. We have like a lot of assessment tests and quizzes as well to try our best to identify with everyone to the best of our ability. It is a very safe and private environment, and I think the beauty of it is that you're surrounded with people who are on the same journey. Back when I was starting off, it was like talking about your true self was, what are you talking? My mother told, do you know what my mother told me? My mother told me. So you know your inner voice. So you mean like you hear voices? I'm like, I don't hear voices. I'm like, because
Don't
it
take
was
it too
such a
literally. The context, the meaning, like inner voice. I
because it was
understand that.
so like what do you mean? You go to work from 9 to 5, you're successful, you go for your masters, you go for a doctorate, like you do this, you get married, you have children, and I'm like, whoa, like no one asked me how do I feel about all of it, and what do I want to do, and what do I believe in. And I do believe something good. I do believe that people are mainly good. I believe that humanity comes together when required. And I do believe that we, as us, have very strong voices. Like, we matter. And it is important to know who we are so we can vocalize and be stronger together in certain changes for the future generations. Like otherwise, if we don't try to bring the humanity solidarity together, like we're all just in a loop, get born, do the stuff that you're to do, like either you're gonna make a change, you're not gonna make a change, die next, right? But then what happens in that cycle between all of the generations? We keep on having wars, which is, in my opinion, highly unacceptable at this stage,
Yeah, I
and
think that's like, and there's so much. I feel like compared to just maybe even 15 years ago, 20 years ago,
2025, yeah.
the amount of atrocities and chaotic events, it's not that they're increasing. It's that we're getting, I think that they were always there. I think they were always around the world
Yeah,
happening. I just think we're getting fed more of it now. We're seeing more of it coming to our
exactly.
sphere of information. And it's like, because of that, I think that, even if you kind of like, how you watch horror movies and after a while
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
not so
yeah.
scary anymore because you get desensitized to it. Even though you might seem desensitized at first, when you really deeply think about some of these things that are happening around the world, it can come at you like a tidal wave of emotion. It's scary. It's scary
It's
stuff. And I
scary.
think that it is, and you start to see people coming together. There's this general
Yeah.
like want and desire to actually group together and make a change. And you see this in like movements and groups all around the world. But the trouble is, I feel like even a lot of those groups get like, I don't want to get political with this, but like even a lot of
Yeah,
those
I know
groups
what you
end up
mean.
getting like, they get refocused and they start having their own specific agenda that's not really what it started off as. And I think that if more people can, instead of like joining this big movement that has this huge political agenda, to actually do a little bit more of this, just self-care and being around other people who are engaging in the same thing, which is to look inwards first and think about how you can improve you, to then look at how you can help others around you within your sphere of influence.
Correct.
I think that's important. That's the viral effect you want, right?
I think what we want is we want people to be self-aware. We want people to be aware of the environment. We want people to know who they are and that their voice matters. We want them to be confident and to cherish their lives, to cherish everything they have in front of, and not to just take on whatever is being imposed or given, or to be able to vocalize it, like this is not okay. And then when we say that this is not okay, we are being heard, and that the change does happen, right? It's, don't get me wrong, I also don't want to get political. I'm trying to do my best in other ways, right? But I knew, like, when the war in Ukraine broke, and I said, they were like, "Oh, let's hope," and I'm like, this is another 3 to 4 years. Like, I know how it was for us, and I'm like,
it's not going to happen in a couple of months. This is the long haul.
But don't you think that
it's a generational change now? Entire life.
Yeah. And the reasoning behind it is we get stuck with all of the laws and regulations and how much we can interfere with. Like, what should be number one is no killing, and human life matters no matter what, and that is an ultimate law and regulation, and we act with kindness in a spirit of preventing killing. Like, it cannot be there, because it's like, it cannot be, oh, this is where we stop because this is as much as we can do. No, it is something that will damage probably another 2 generations, and that's their life. Someone decided how their life will look like, and that is not okay. So more we are secure, and but we have to come from the place of kindness and love. And that's why I always say, if we can all try to do one kind act a day, just one kind act a day, the ripple effect will be massive. And I do believe the good does come to good people. And even though it might be slower sometimes, what we have is peace at our soul, that we have tried our best. And I think when you are on your deathbed and you're reflecting backwards and there's nothing else you can take or nowhere else to go, you want that contentment and peace. You want that knowledge. And
I think that's really important, because there's I've heard, and I actually did this once, like, have you written your own obituary? Try writing that.
I heard that one as well. I haven't done it, but I heard of it.
I actually said, that's a challenge. Let me try and do that. And I started.
Did you do it?
I was like, holy crap, I've got some work to do. I need to, I need to do some stuff. And look, I just just bring this full circle really quick, because this journey that you're on right now, this crusade almost, like but at the same time, it's like, if we step back and look at the business process of how you came up with this. So you started off with these 16 steps. Was it, from what I understand, you were trying to you write a book first, and then that became into this, like, it became a teaching philosophy. And then how did you then start, like, collaborating with the specialists out there? When did you know to bring them in to basically apply the experts to each step, and then also then take that setting, or take that, I guess, that framework, and then apply it to the yachts, and apply it to Croatia, and apply it to this? Because it sounds like there's a lot of moving parts, but when pulled together, it's an amazing experience for someone.
Yes, and I will tell you, no one has done it so far, right? And I will tell you one reason: because it's hard. It's not that easy, and I think it is also very challenging to get all of the facilitators, into the retreat at the same time, and to be able to, like, treat everyone as a tailored experience. But it's also a very important community and group feeling and experience. So I think I crafted its 6 key milestones. So it's like raising self-awareness, defining your authenticity or searching for your authenticity, motivation and kindness, kindness and compassion, motivation and courage, positive mindset, and faith and set of beliefs. And then all of those have like multiple sub-subjects and exercises, etc. I think there are about between like 15 and 20 of us in the facilitators team, and depending on the profiles, that's how we try to come together and assist and support and adjust even the program, because like every time it's adjusted.
So
And
as an entrepreneur, when you came up with those 6 and then the sub, I guess like the sub steps, and you're like, okay, so this is going to help people. Now, you know what? I need to get people involved with this that are specialists here and here and here. So you call them up, you say, hey, look, we're going to do a retreat and I need you on a yacht. It's going to be awesome. It's like a vacation. Like, is that how the conversations went? Or were people like rejecting you at first? Like, how was that like? Because it's amazing when people have, I talk about this when I teach as well, like how to start a company up. Like, you don't always have to like build everything from the ground up, like the bricks and mortar. You don't have to make the yacht, buy the yacht. You can actually backwards collaborate with a lot of people and businesses out there to essentially put your business together,
correct,
right? So
I
you can
agree.
find the yacht
Yes,
chartering company, you can find the experts, you can backwards collaborate to produce the product, and then you can then collaborate again to start selling the product, which is what I talk about with distribution channels, like how to find other people that have access to the customers that you want, kind of rope them in and sell directly through them. But then, like I say, you can do it backwards. It seems like you've kind of done a little bit of that. Like you've gone through with this idea, this philosophy, this plan, and you've had to go out then and find the people, bring them on board, and then
it was
go
also
through some kind of
challenging.
logistical nightmare to bring it all together. It's like, tell us, like, how did that
It
go?
is, yeah. So I think it was challenging because I needed people who will believe in the same movement that we are trying to achieve with Indigo as well. And I needed them to understand that it's a startup. Like all of my professional facilitators are like probably world renowned team of facilitators. They are experts in executive coaching and life coaching, and we are merging executive and life coaching because we don't want people to have to separate and differentiate between themselves at home and at work. So, you know, Roger Dels, who is a professor of authenticity in leadership at Ashridge University, also was, I think he was doing a lecture at King's College where my husband was doing his MBA post-military. And Nick said, I think you should meet Roger. And I'm like, okay. So I kindly asked him for his time, thinking, I mean, if you look into Roger's credentials, everything is like, but it's just remarkable how we click, because I don't come from the background. I come from corporate, from travel, from yachting. And we had a conversation and he looked at me, he said, I was waiting for something like this my entire life. He is, I think Roger is
Sounds like
17
it's way
now.
more fulfilling. See, that's the thing you just mentioned. All these lofty titles, all this like this prestige that's associated with someone you think suddenly you can't approach because they have all these this experience and this prestige behind them. But then suddenly, like when you do open it up, it's like, this is exactly what I needed. I
Yeah,
needed
that
to
is exactly.
break free from this. It's like they needed it themselves.
And also because English is not my first language, right? So as you know, I'm originally Croatian, and sometimes it is very difficult for me to express exactly what I feel or what I mean. And I also, I mean, I through the experience, I know like a lot about psychology, but at the same time, I don't have credentials, so it's like very difficult to back it up sometimes. And we just clicked. That was it. It was a perfect match. And from there onwards, Roger took a role and he was like, okay, everyone, everyone who he knows, whom he trusts, who are like, who fit the profile, who can deliver the best, like they all teach like very, very reputable corporate C-level around the world, and they're busy people. We all came together at a barbecue at my place. And we started talking, and we were like, we all felt called to, because we do believe in our authentic selves. We do believe how important it's important in everything, in personal relationships, in marriage, in work, in it's your life, right? So we just cannot stress it out enough. So that's how we came together. And regarding the
Remembering that
boats,
everyone's a human, like,
yeah,
like
remembering
no
that
matter who
everyone
you
is.
are, no matter who you're talking to, people like barbecues. Like it's like people want to self-develop. They want to see better in their life. They want to shift away from the humdrum of life. And if you can offer them a way for like, I seem like if you can offer them a way to take their experience and their skills and help other people in the setting that you've created, I'm sure that's going to feed their own soul in the way that you're talking about, like their
I
own
mean, I
authentic self.
a lot of people who have done our online webinars and who would ask me if I can spend a week or two with them because they're going through a transition, etc. Like, the feedback is just beautiful. It's remarkable. Like, you can see the difference. And you know what? I think most of us know it and feel it, but it's very difficult when you're on your own. We need guidance. We need support mechanism. You need someone who will believe in you and who will do it from the genuine care from their heart without the interest. You know, I feel that these days we act just if we have an interest in something. Well, and that is exactly what you said. We are all humans. We need to remember that there is a responsibility in being human and part of the humanity. Kindness should be our default mode. Being who we are should be our default mode. We need to reprogram ourselves. So regarding the yacht, I actually worked with the company before, who was one of the like amazing tour operator yacht charter companies, and I was running a yacht supply for them. And you know, I have done a lot of the yacht charters, etc. And I was thinking, like, what better way to deliberate yourself than combining it with yachting and sailing yachting? So with most of the charter companies, my relationship with them goes back probably like about 10 years. With some of them, I even studied together. So Euromarine, who is our exclusive distributor and charter company partner, they are exclusive distributor for Jeanneau in Croatia. They have fantastic fleet. All of their boats are new, very well maintained, etc. But Hrvoje, who runs it, him and I studied together. So we have a very strong, reliable relationship where we both trust each other. We know what are our expectations. They know that I expect new boats, you know,
You
good
get the good boats,
designs.
right? You get because you're bringing in like, and you say this actually. You said C-level, C-suite kind of people that come on board, but I remember you telling me your price points on this, and it's actually not something that's too scary. You know, it's not like a $100,000 like week you gotta
No,
put
I
aside. Go ahead, tell us some of that, because I think
and
when people
another
hear
thing.
about these things, they think, oh yeah, but you're talking about a retreat. Well, I could go for a vacation for $5,000, and you know I could have a really good time, and then suddenly you want to throw this retreat on top, so that's going to add another 10 because of all these professionals that I've got to meet. Like, give people an idea of like what kind of price points this sits
Yeah,
at.
and not only that, like all of our facilitators, as you said, they're TEDx speakers, they're published authors, they all have written 3 to 4 books, etc. So their time is highly valuable. But due to the fact that we have come together from the belief, we have really tried our best to adjust the package to people to be able to afford it to themselves. And one thing that I haven't stressed out, so basically, even though it is personal development and yachting, we are doing our workshops at some of the like very secluded boutiques, resorts, and places. You can like you wouldn't usually know about it unless you have a local who can advise you or refer you to. Those are some magical views, feelings, vibes. It's just like very, very unique. And doing the workshop in such an environment is amazing. But we also have sport and water activities. We have lunches, dinners. We have our goodbye dinner at Zrnosoli, which is for 4 years in a row named one of the top Croatian Michelin Guide restaurants in Croatia in Split. We have Carpe Diem at the Stipanska Island, where we have a sushi dinner. We have after beach terranza party. We also have a party if someone wants to go. Water activities go from jet skis to kayaks to pedal boards and stuff, like whatever someone would prefer throughout the retreat. So we also have a wine tasting on the island of Brač at Winery Stina with the Croatian cheese platter and authentic wine. So there are a lot of add-ons.
Yeah, I'm sold. I'm coming.
To it.
My wife's gonna watch this podcast after. I'm gonna make sure she doesn't watch all my. I'm gonna make sure she watches this one. Like, yeah, we're gonna go.
So is the accommodation, the cabin on a yacht? All boats are new. Skipper is included. I have to say, our skippers are super cool, lovely people who have been doing it for years, who know the bays as the palm of their hand, and they are like excited and genuinely there to help and make the experience seamless, right? So skippers are included, fuel is included, welcome dinner, sushi dinner, goodbye dinner, and 2 lunches are included, sport and water activities and the wine tasting, and 25 hours of personal development workshops, plus at the end of the retreat, we do our own personal development program. And we need to stick with that program for a certain, depending on a period and depending what we are working on. So it has a timeline. And we as professionals, facilitators, etc., we make sure that we are part of that process. We will check in. We are here. They can email us. They can call us. We stay at their service, and it's part of the community now. So we create the personal program tailored for every single one of us. We have hotel posting on the island of Vark. That hotel is like magical. It's right across the Croatian president's Bakaricheva villa. I don't know. So it's like the villa where the presidents go for vacationing and the holiday. President of Croatia.
It's the top spot to go. Okay.
Yeah, so it's beautiful. So all of that is included, and the price is between 3,800 to 4,600, depending on the dates, right?
Pounds.
So
Like
more
euros?
Pounds.
Pounds.
3,800 to 4,600. So
good.
basically,
for
all you
everything that
need
you're getting there, for everything that you're getting, that entire experience. How long is the experience for?
For a week.
It's for a full week, and that's the max. That's your kind of like all-inclusive price point.
All-inclusive
there
package.
Are places that I've been to that are just kind of busted with a similar price point that weren't retreats. They were just kind of all-inclusive hotels. I mean, if you go to some spots, you'll end up, spending around 3,500, 4,000 just on a couple of people, maybe a family of 3, which is what I was going to the DR and stuff like that. Yeah, you got the sun, beach and everything, but the hotel, the amenities aren't that great. And you've got this entire experience with all this personal development and self-actualization and all these kind of grounding exercises, and of course all the different places that you can see and things that you can experience. You've got something for the excited, the active bunch, and then you've also got the relaxed wine tasting. And I think that's a trip that could get me out the doghouse if I ever got into one as well. I just feel like
But when you think about it, so for example, all of our facilitators, they're also professors, and they teach. They have been teaching numerous numbers of corporate companies, their employees, about authenticity. Resilience is very important these days as well, and getting that executive and life coaching in 25 hours and one-on-one personal time with 3 facilitators for a week, it's a lot. It is really a lot. And having that experience of Croatia, of sailing, pretty much the only thing that they need to do is the flight tickets, and I think flight tickets, and then the tip for the skipper, and then few lunches or throughout the day that are not included, but that's not really that big of a deal.
Yeah.
um and mooring fees are like a little bit, they vary, but still
It
I
sounds like
think.
you've put this together and now it's like you've got this very clean package. You've got all these other people can do what they want. I mean, people are coming on like, there's all these other things that you can do and pay for. That's up to you. But like you have this package, you've put it together as a business, as these 6 steps that became 16, and you've
I
pulled
know.
these people in that are experienced experts. You've dealt with the logistics. You're making this work. Your website's cool. I've seen the pictures. I've looked at the profiles. It's amazing. I think everyone who's listening should check it out. Where are you going from here? I know you mentioned Spain. I know you mentioned Asia somewhere. What was it now? You said
Thailand, yeah.
Thailand. I was about to say Bali. That Bali's on my mind. So it's like Thailand. So you've got these 3 destinations. So obviously you'll have. Are you negotiating new contracts with new yachting companies, or is the yachting company that you're working with kind of expanding along with you? How's this kind of working?
So
Where's your future growth going?
yeah, so we have multiple partner charter companies across all of the destinations. We are also a charter agency, so people can book a yacht with us anywhere in the world, with the skipper or without the skipper, without the retreat. So the yacht charter business of Indigo Sails is a separate business to the retreats, right? And we are looking into replicating. So ultimately, my objective is that we manage to reach over the next 3 years probably about 1 million people, and taking it from there to open more franchises. So Indigo as Indigo, we would be running probably Spain and Thailand, but other destinations, because we also have charter company partners in Italy, in Turkey, in BVI, in France, so there are multiple options. We also do have a luxury segment, which is very interesting to me as well, for, super yachts and maybe more boutique itinerary and the group oriented program. But I would say that what matters to me the most is to reach to people and to create that community where people will be confident knowing that they're part of something for a higher good,
See,
where
that's what I
they
was
will
thinking
feel.
about as you were saying that. I was like, I had these. I'm that kind of person, that entrepreneur who always just constantly comes up with ideas, right? So I don't know if this is something you've thought about, but I'm just gonna just spit it out because it's one of those things. Like, it just whenever I hear people talk about business, like, yep, that sounds good. That sounds good. What about this? And I've got it in my head. I'm like, I need to share it with you. You've spoken a lot about the beginning of this podcast. You really went into like the movement, the higher calling of people and humanity, and need for it. And then you're kind of this platform that you've created is almost like the conduit for it. It's how you bring people in to kind of like get them to understand the situation for themselves, how they can better their own lives, but also become part
Exactly.
of this culture, if you will. Right? You're building it
Exactly.
like this
True.
there's
Yes.
healthy
Culture.
indoctrination, right? And it's like, but here's the thing: it's like, what could you do to kind of scale up? And I'm hearing franchising, I'm hearing locational, I'm hearing heavy logistics. Would you ever consider something along the lines of like an insider's, like maybe perhaps a kind of like an app? It's not an app that has information. I'm talking about like an inside club where they have professional, tailored training or coaching that they can experience after they've gone through the event itself. So they've had this week, this kind of transition
Oh,
experience, and then they go back to the real world, and it's like that they call the real world when they're in the real world the whole time. Then they go back to the humdrum of their life, their working life. Now they have this ongoing effect of here's how you can continue your development. Here's how you can continue to improve your life at home with your spouse, how you can continue to excel at your work. Here's how you can continue to ground yourself. Like, could there be something that, because that's something, there's a lot of people touting apps and stuff like that, just like top funnel where they'll send it to everybody, say, this is going to help your, mental health and wellness. But if they've gone through the experience with you, and if you're talking about 1 million potential in number, to have a percentage of that, 30%, 40%, because they've come through your platforms that are probably more inclined to go with the software. You could have something like that. That could probably help you scale massively.
Exactly. So we have been working on it for the past 2 years. So basically, as soon as when you conduct the booking, another thing that I have forgotten to say, we also provide installment payments, so people can pay in multiple installments. Typically, it's 3 installments, but if they need more, they can get in touch and we can adjust it. And we also do everything: Apple Pay, Google Pay, credit cards. We do Klarna, anything that they need.
You can go on this life-changing, altering, grounding experience. From London, from the US, you can fly to Croatia, one of the most beautiful places on earth and beautiful waters on earth. Go into a yacht, and you're giving them the opportunity to enjoy this experience for a week, where they can learn all about themselves, how they can be better humans for their partners, for their life. And they can pay in installments.
Yes, exactly. And not just 3. If they need more, we approve more. So, but also what I want to say, I'm Croatian and I have been in travel in Croatia for most of my life. So I'm kind of like a local proper tour guide. You get to see the best of it with me. I do participate in all of the retreats, and I do inspirational storytelling, and that's where I share elements of my experiences. And then Roger, Rebecca, Amy, Pamela, and the rest of them basically approach them from academical and psychological background, and then try to serve it, I guess, as an example to see it's okay. There you go. Like nothing happened to her. Moving on, But I think it's important to see. But what I wanted to say, once they conduct the booking with us, they become a member of Indigo Sails community, and members have access to their back portal. In that back portal, they have all of our contact details with direct access to all of us on regular basis, pre-retreat, post-retreat. We do share a lot of exercises where they do have an opportunity or possibility if they want to go through their results with us as well, and we can break them down for them, and we can create a plan what we need to work on to help them to be where they want to be. And we also have a lot of webinars on weekly basis that they can join and plug in at any point. We share, you can imagine how much academical work we have, how many books those guys have written, how many papers and ideas and the thesis and so many examples and models and the stuff. So we share all of those constantly. And at any point, if anyone has any questions or concerns, they know we are just a click away, and it's reliable and it's for life, and I think that is where we are heading in a long term, to have that strong community that is connected. And I think more powerful the community is, being self-authentic, more good it can do. It can create a ripple effect in the world. I definitely, at some point, I would like to see the entire world at that stage. And I will probably die before that, but I will keep my hopes up.
Well, listen, that's an amazing mission to have. I'm fully supportive. I think I'd love to come along, even if it's just a
We're doing it, Sav. We're doing it.
Awesome. That's brilliant. Well, listen, Nikolina, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I think we're going to have more conversations. I would love to, maybe we could have a conversation maybe with some of your other partners soon.
That would be great. We can bring Roger and Rebecca on board. That would be amazing.
Get my wife on too.
Yay!
That would be awesome. We should definitely do that. I think that would be good because
Why don't we do a session? Why don't we do a session on relationships? I forgot to send you our recording from our last online webinar that we have done with Roger about caring for myself and loving others. So there were a lot of questions, and some of them were also, I think they're challenged in regards to understanding when compromising over compromises their authentic self, and when to accept and when to make a change. So, we can maybe have something like that. I don't know. Talk to your wife,
Absolutely.
ask her
Yeah, I
what
think
would she like to
probably
talk
do it.
about.
Like I've always kept these podcasts like predominantly focused on business, but I'm also starting to kind of widen the approach now because I feel like the conversations just can go further and deeper. And I think that when it comes to like setting up companies, it's all well and good talking about your business strategy, how you hire, how you fire, how you fund it, how you deal with like crisis and continuity. But then there's also like, well, how do you deal with it for real if you're a real human? Like if you have people
Correct.
that depend on you, if you have children, if you have a spouse, are things going well with that? Is this passion of yours creating problems at home? Is this
Correct.
persona that you put on, is it now changing who you are as a person? Is this new identity that you're feeling that you have to adopt really healthy for you? I think those conversations are super important. And I think that you've got a platform that can really help um, explore that. And I think I'd love to do it physically, like where you get to go out there and enjoy the yachting and the beautiful environments, but also just from a conversational standpoint, if anything on this podcast, we should certainly see if we can actually have those
But
conversations.
Sam, may I just quickly, I will be very quick. I have been, so yesterday, when I was going back and forth and I was just putting down why I have started Indigo, because it is very important for the business to be aware of the messages that we are sending out, and that people are comfortable with identifying themselves with us. And I wrote down that Indigo is a movement towards towards healing humanity and bringing awareness to a need for kindness, compassion, and love. And I have reached the conclusion that, like, it is all connected. And in order for us, because we are all so stressed and suppressed, in order to reach to it, we will need businesses to have social impact and kindness at their core. No one will take their business to the grave. Like, the business is supposed to serve us and not vice versa. The business should be something that we are doing because either we are good at it, or we believe in it, or there is a purpose behind it. I do believe that businesses will have to start acting with the purpose and with the kindness and having social impact at their best interest. And it will be a crucial element in further development. Because when you think about it, how long can you sustain something that doesn't flow with the human nature,
I
and
think that is the secret. That's
that
the
is the
secret.
secret.
Because if you think about the most powerful, most successful, um, the richest man pretty much on the planet, depending on the stock market,
Yeah.
Elon Musk, that's his thing, serve humanity. And he does it through his own way, but that's his mission. And that's why everyone gets behind him. That's why his
Exactly.
businesses are the most successful. When he talks about Tesla, it's like how to bring, I think the motto behind Tesla is how to bring sustainable energy to everybody. It's not, I want to make fast cars.
Correct.
And then it's like,
Exactly.
I
How
don't
do
want
I
to make
do it for
rockets.
everyone?
I want to expand humanity so we can get to Mars and live and sustain. Like he has an underlying. I wish I remembered the actual line he has. I'm a big fan, but I should actually just have that written somewhere. But the essence of his message is always about serving humanity as opposed to serving yourself. And it's because he's looking to serve humanity that he gets rewarded as such. And I think that's fantastic. I think that is the secret.
And that is
All
the
right.
secret. And I think businesses need to follow that example. And to be honest, it's not just an opinion, it is, again, our responsibility towards the humanity. We don't need to have an interest. We are responsible. So it's not like we want to, like, it is your responsibility. It is your responsibility to brush your teeth on daily basis, right? So I mean, but I also wanted to say, I'm not sure what's the situation right now. I didn't follow now for quite some time, but also Spotify, right? Spotify wasn't profitable. It is one of the, um, uh, uh, I don't know, they're worth how
How much are
much
they making?
now? Yeah,
A
but
lot.
it is a massive brand. But due to my knowledge, I don't think.
It's on
But
a
apparently,
trajectory.
Spotify hasn't been profitable for ages. But because that was not the purpose of the Spotify, right?
Yeah,
So
I feel if you look at, I think you'll probably find that if you look at some of the largest, most successful companies out there,
when you,
there's
yeah,
something similar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think whatever comes from the place, it's gonna develop. Everything else is consumer behavior, right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on that
Hey,
note,
Sam. Namaste. Thank you so much.
thank you so much. Thank you for being here. We're going to have another conversation soon. Nikolina.
Definitely. It's been a true pleasure, Sam.